Hey everybody, today I just wanted to go over why I decided to run 2 power poles on the transom of my multi-species boat this year. It goes back to 2019 when I had a bass boat with twin power poles and I got to experience just how beneficial they were to my boat control workflow. So there's 3 key things I want you to take into consideration here. Resistance, stability, and tracking. Those 3 things are all fully customizable with power poles on the back of your boat, particularly twins and especially with the power pole paddles. These things have become so important to how I like to fish out here, and I'm going to go out here and show you exactly what I mean. So let's go. Well, now I wanted to elaborate on those 3 key reasons why I put the twin power poles on the boat this year. I picked the absolute worst day to do it. It's pretty much flat, calm, and windless. Like anybody, you don't especially need them on days like this, although there are times, which I'll explain, which they still come in handy. All right, so first of the 3 reasons, resistance. When you put twin power poles down, you're creating equal resistance on the boat. And what it allows you to do is, as you start to come into an area, and you know, with forward-facing stuff, a lot of times I'm on high speed, just out searching. And as soon as I let my foot off the gas, it's most likely because I've identified a target that I want to make an approach at. And if I have those 2 power poles in the water, it creates immediate resistance that backs my speed down and buys me a little bit of extra time. Maybe if I miss a cast, it might buy me enough time to make one more productive cast at that fish or target to make sure that I had it covered thoroughly. So resistance is a key thing. Now you can adjust the levels of resistance that you have either by the amount of power pole that goes into the water or how you turn your power pole paddles, because the more you turn it parallel, if you turn your paddles so that they're parallel to the transom, they have maximum drag. But you can overdo it sometimes too. Say you're on Green Bay, for example, or Great Lakes, and you've got the wind at your back and it's surging pretty good. If the swells are too big and you have your power poles on completely parallel to the transom, they might actually put so much surge control on you that you feel yourself doing this. You know, if you just keep your power pole paddles so that they're more in line with the keel, at that point in time you just have a nice consistent push through the water and you don't feel yourself getting jerked around. And the more consistent speed that you have, the better your timing is and the better your casts are on your target. So resistance is number 1. You can adjust your drift if you want. You know, you can always just put 1 power pole paddle down, and let's say I have a person up here, a person in the back, and a person in the middle. I can change that resistance with the paddle so that my drift becomes sideways and we can all just, you know, lob stuff off one side of the boat and have a nice controlled drift that way too. But that's a whole other thing. Now the second reason why I really like having them on is stability. Stability comes from when you put those power poles in the water and your power pole paddles especially are still in line with the keel, not in line with the transom, in line with the keel. So what happens is if you're in troughs and waves or a bunch of boat wakes or a choppy seawall or whatever, and you're just a little unstable up here, what that does is when your boat starts to roll off its axis like this, those things add more resistance that way, which keeps you more stable up here. And the more stable you are up front, the more stable your picture is on your forward facing, the better and more accurate your cast can be, and you have a less chance at maybe going overboard, especially as the waves get really big. So stability is very important sitting there on the front of the boat. The final reason, and probably the most important reason for me to have twin power poles on the back of the boat, is tracking. When you put twin power poles in the water with the paddles, it basically extends the keel of my boat. It has so much rudder surface on those paddles, especially when you leave them parallel to the keel like this. When I let my foot off the gas, no matter what direction I'm going, if I'm in high-speed search mode like this, and I've got those in the water, when I let my foot off the gas, the direction that my boat was traveling, it continues in that trajectory, and true tracking is so critical for guys that are trying to leverage that forward-facing stuff. It's important for everybody, but especially with that. If you've identified a target or something you want to cast at, and your boat doesn't want to kind of deviate from where you were lined up with when you were about to make your cast, your accuracy and your presentation just improves tremendously. And all this stuff gets so much harder to do when the wind and the waves really build. That's where these really help, because what those allow me to do is it extends the productivity range at which I can hang on the front of the boat in just about all conditions. You know, there might come a point where the waves and the wind just get so wild that you're better off either just putting some planer boards out, or maybe even thinking about a different location. But by extending the range that I'm productive from up here, by improving those 3 things, it makes life so much better on the boat in all conditions. So I encourage you to fish with a buddy that's got them, if they've got them, especially with the paddles, and play with the different positions on them, because you can tweak your boat's drift, you can tweak your boat's resistance so that you can do different things. It's an amazing tool that you can invest in. Oh, she's trying to get up here. Come here, Abigail, let's do some fishing. But anyways, that's the reasons why I love having these power poles. I can't believe that I've been missing out on these for all these years. They're not just for bass boats. Take a look at them, guys. I appreciate these power poles, and I'll be talking to you later. See you. Come on, honey. Let's go fishing.
Let's go.
You got your pink Barbie pole?
Yeah.
Where is it?
Oh, where is it? I lost it there.
Well, let's find it.